Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Luke Papalo Show. And let's just get out of the way. Holy shit. Nick Fuentes destroyed Piers Morgan on his own show, Piers Morgan Uncensored. We have a lot to get to today. I've been covering Nick's generational run probably since June, July, and he's just skyrocketed ever since then. So a lot of things have went down, and we're going to play multiple clips for you today. But specifically, this one is about Piers Morgan, and he's trying to corner Nick. And the reason he's trying to corner Nick is because Nick was talking about the Austrian painter being cool, right? And so in typical boomer fashion, here's Piers Morgan trying to play a gotcha to Nick, and watch how Nick just excellently maneuvers shamelessly through this gotcha question. Here we go.
A prominent conservative in America has to say about Adolf Hitler. Now, what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
Okay. And that's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah,
I mean,
do.
can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow
He
up?
murdered
That
12
is just
million
childish.
people. He murdered 12 million
Okay.
people. What is very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits, it's just cool. The uniforms, the parades, it's cool as a guy. You look at World War II, and it's fascinating, and it's interesting, and it's compelling, and it's cool. And that's
A
the
prominent
problem.
conservative.
Right? So there we go. Okay. And Nick explains that. Now, mind you, all these edits have been going on. They're all over Instagram Reels. They're all over TikTok, or at least they were over TikTok before the Ellison family bought TikTok. They're all over X. They're all over social media. And why is this? Because for the past 80 years, World War II, if you were on the side of the Allies, was treated as the only way, right? Was treated as the only way, period. And you had all of those Axis powers, like Germany, like Japan, etc., who were the villains, okay? And that's what they were portrayed to us as for the past 80 years. And any whatsoever alternative history, alternative way of looking at things has been treated as being the worst person ever. Any positive critique or any positive thing mentioned about Hitler, going down to the fact that he had a dog, is treated as though you are an anti-Semite. And this is something that a lot of people in Gen Z, more specifically me, I'm talking about my experience, have been aware of for maybe the past 2 years, ever since October 7th. But this is something that Nick has been fighting for damn near a decade. So it's very interesting to see him confronted by this. In the interviews that he's done in the past couple weeks, Crowder has been lighthearted, a good interview. Tucker, lighthearted, a good interview. PBD was a little bit more of a thorough interview, a little bit more investigative, kind of contradictory in some of his questions and his beliefs when talking to Nick. This is probably the most pushback that Nick has got in an interview yet. But as you can see, for the majority of this interview, he just trolled Piers Morgan. He made Piers Morgan look like the out-of-touch boomer that he really is. And so that's just a start, right? Next up, he doubled down on his infamous clip, and we all know the clip. We're not gonna reference it, but you know, when he mentions women, he mentions Jews, he mentions blacks. But I want to play it for you because Piers, again, in true gotcha boomer slop fashion, he tried to play gotcha with Nick and tried to play this clip, the same one that Ben Shapiro played, and make it seem like an own, just like Ben did. But watch it, and you'll see here what kind of happened. And again, a massive troll job. If anything, this was a comedy show for 2 hours. It was insane. It's so crazy that he's finally allowed on Piers Morgan, and he's finally allowed on all these mainstream shows. But here's what Piers tried to do, and watch Nick's response. Here we go.
This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks. Let's just take a listen.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really
They have his, if you look right here, they have his live reaction right here.
complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, all of them.
No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about black people who murder people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that.
That's
you
the
just
crime
said
problem.
blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
Do you think it's funny, or?
I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
Do you think a black American would find it funny? You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time. They say, Nick Fuentes, I love your show. They agree with me. And you want to know why? Here's the difference. Black people are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago. You should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
My son went to Chicago
Inglewood.
University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago and Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west, see what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is. That's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
True. Very, very true. You talk about LeBron being the biggest critic of quote-unquote racism in this country. LeBron James, where's he living? He's living in one of the whitest neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Brentwood. You just see this pattern, right? Going back to it, black people are the biggest victims of this violent crime. And so Nick makes a tremendous point. But again, the whole backdrop of this is crazy because Piers is trying to play gotcha. The typical boomer gotcha. Typical, I have the highest authority. I'm the most moral. It's like, you claim to be the most moral. The whole generation is so much the same because if you say anything remotely controversial, anything remotely critical or politically incorrect about anything, they're like, but they've handed us down the most awful country imaginable, right? They had a layup. They had the most easy lives. People like Piers Morgan, and I know Piers is British, but he still lives in America. Boomers like Piers Morgan they got to experience America at its fucking peak, at its absolute peak. They were able to have everything cost a very low amount compared to today. They were able to have, on the male income, mind you, one male income, a nice home, a nice car, maybe 2 or 3 nice cars. They were able to send their kids to private school, or they didn't have to worry about sending their kids to private school because the public schools at that point, back in the 60s, the 70s, were very good. They were very good quality. Why? Because of demographics in part, but because there was a societal order. There was a backdrop of religion to the society. Christianity was much more prevalent than it is today in the United States of America. And all of the jobs were here. We had all of the manufacturing here in this country. And we had the privilege of being pretty much the only country that had the manufacturing because of after World War II. We were the only ones that had the factories because after World War II, during that, Europe was predominantly destroyed because of all of this destruction that took place. All the factories were destroyed. I mean, I can't put it any other way because that's what happened. The war was predominantly in Europe, so all of the manufacturing facilities, all the factories were destroyed, were blown up, were due to war, were not able to function. And so as a result, American manufacturing was largely the only manufacturing in the world at that point. So we made fucking everything. And the boomers took all of that and they gave us the slop that we have now. And if we go against the grain in any specific way, if we challenge the status quo in any specific way, they go, like Piers will say, you're racist. What? What are you talking about? You lived life on fucking easy mode, dude. You've never had a specific conflict that you had to actually fight in. I'll give you the Cold War, maybe, but you never had to specifically fight for your country in a conflict when you were called to. Let's be honest here. As the West, right? I understand Vietnam, United States of America was the primary aggressor, right? And that was kind of the beginning of the baby boomer generation, if you if you want to put it like that, but like, they've been able to live life, for the most part, on easy mode. The economy was amazing, and they handed us shit. The housing market was amazing, and they handed us shit. Healthcare was pretty fucking good, and they handed us shit. The schools, the public schools, used to be the crown jewel of the United States of America, and look what they handed us. Hint, it's shit. And so all of this stuff, I'm so done with the lecturing from the boomers about, oh, you young men need to be politically correct. You young men can't say the wrong thing. You young men shouldn't joke about Hitler or praise any particular world leader that isn't approved. You young men are Nazis. You're fascists. You're awful. You all deserve to be genocided, is what they say. And I'm done. And people like me, young men like me, are done. Most young men are thinking like me. They are done. We are fucking done. And so when we see somebody like a Nick Fuentes pushing against all of the status quos, we support him in mass. Like, we will do anything to follow him and support this message. Why? Because we live in America, and it's not just the white men, it's the black men, it's the Hispanic men, it's the Asian men. Why? Because we all see our shared society, our shared country is crumbling, and it's because of people like Piers Morgan. So again, apologies if you think I'm starting off the episode a little bit fiery, but I am just done, man. I am done on all of it. We don't have to live like this. We don't have to live listening to people try and lecture us like Piers Morgan was doing to Nick. It's just done. So in addition to that, talking about these societal taboos that we haven't been allowed to talk about for generations in this country, Piers Morgan started to grill Nick on saying that he didn't want to live near black people. And again, you can have whatever critique of this that you will, but I'm just going to play the clip and then we're going to talk about it for a little bit. So here we go.
So how do they feel when you say you just want to be away from any black people, walk away from them?
Well, you know what Ye told me? I'll tell you verbatim what he said. He said, so you use the N-word. I said, yeah. He goes, well, when niggas are being niggas. I said, so true. That's so true. So they...
Come on, man. Come on. The boomers are taking themselves so seriously. They see somebody like a Nick Fuentes potentially for the first time. And it's just funny on top of everything else. Like, it is just pure entertainment. This guy says whatever he feels. And we have been taught in this country that saying what you feel for the longest time is inappropriate and it's wrong. And it's actually white supremacy like. And it's actually very much racist when this guy doesn't appear to have much hate in his body. Like, you have to understand what this is.
They feel like they're in complete agreement with me.
What does that mean?
It means that even black people know how black people can behave.
And that's true. And so in this interview, and I'm not going to play that clip because it's a little bit longer, but Piers confronts Nick about his dad. So his dad couldn't even defend himself in the clip, but Piers Morgan is referencing a clip back in 2020, 2021, possibly, where Nick is saying, when we were growing up, my dad said you wouldn't be caught dead in an Applebee's or a Red Lobster because, that's where all violent black people are, is what he said. It's not verbatim, but it's just, a summary. And so Nick's like, first off, you can't bring my dad in here. My dad didn't do anything. He can't defend himself. But he went on to defend his dad anyway. He said, if you look at places like Applebee's and places like Red Lobster, it's not very nice. And there's a reason why the demographics that go there are what they are. There's a reason why it's not safe to go to Apple. Even where I live, bro, I live in the Midwest, and it's pretty much the same as Chicago, like Nick's talking about. Nobody wants to go to Applebee's. Applebee's is not a very nice place. I went to Applebee's probably a year and a half ago, and you'll never catch me there again. I know the lore. I get it. I understand what it is. It's ghetto trash, and it's not just black people. There's white people on crack there as well, right? It's pretty equal when it comes to that. It's pretty diverse. All people that are in lower income status. Nowhere that you want to be. But I'm there and I'm like, ooh. Me and my before she was my wife, my fiance at the time, were like, ooh, I I don't know. I don't know. And it really had nothing to do with the racial makeup of the place. Like, it just wasn't good. It was very shady. You felt uncomfortable. Yes, there were black people in there, but there were very shady white people in there too. Just the overall environment was really ghetto, really sketch. I knew she felt uncomfortable, and I felt uncomfortable because she was uncomfortable, and I wanted to get out for her safety and just for the safety of the both of us. Like, it didn't appear to be a very nice place. You felt really uneasy when you were in there, and it's the same thing at Red Lobster. They were almost going out of business. I know the new CEO was able to recover, but there is a reason why all the people at the first of the month, they go there because they have all the food stamps, and it's all ready for them. Red Lobster, unfortunately, used to be a fine establishment. I never went there more than twice in my childhood. We haven't been back since I was like 8. But I do remember the biscuits were amazing. The garlic butter biscuits, amazing. But you see who goes in there. You drive by, the one in where I live, or close to where I live, rather, is right off the exit, so you kind of have to pass it to get where you're going. And you see the cars that are there. You see what it is. It's a bunch of Nissan Altimas. It's a bunch of Cadillacs with the tint, the illegal tint. It's a bunch of like cars that you would expect. But you know what I mean? It's not places that normal people would go. These places are kind of catering now to the trash of the society. Again, not just a black thing, but you understand what I'm talking about. And Piers, when Nick says the N-word, and I'm not going to say the N-word on YouTube because who knows what happens with free speech. I don't have the platform that Nick does. But nevertheless, you see Piers' shock when Nick says the N-word. He's like, like he's taken aback. He can't believe that the word has been said. But it's this boomer slop that we have been conditioned to listen to for the past, I don't know how, for the whole entirety of my life. We've been forced to listen to this boomer slop. And I am quite tired of listening to the boomer slop. And I'm quite tired of having to maneuver the boomer slop. Even in my own family, there's people that'll try and dish out this boomer slop to me. And it's like, we're done. You handed us down the worst country. You gave us, like, it's almost the inverse of Avengers Infinity War. How many outcomes are there going to be for us to win? One. You literally picked, if you're the boomers, you literally picked the one outcome that could be the worst possible scenario for the United States. Like, you had this country on easy mode. All you had to do was keep everything going. But you fucked it up so bad. And now we have to clean it all up. And you might not like what comes in its place. So there's that. But I want to move on, okay? Because Nick and Piers talked a lot about mass migration. And we're going to play a clip specifically where they did so. And, Nick's talking about our society is being, taken over. Or we're losing our society because of mass migration. And I'm just going to play this clip for you. So here we go.
At the SPLC, they're literally counting down the days until whites are a minority in America. So.
Yeah, what is that? And you have all these boomers, not to interrupt the clip, but you have all these boomers that are saying, stop talking about white genocide. What's white genocide? Have you ever heard of slavery? And it's like, yeah, we have heard about it. Thanks to people like you who have put it what's a good word? You've just bashed it into our heads in the curriculum in this country. When at the height of slavery, I believe the percentage is 1.4% of white people in the country, in the United States of America, at the height of slavery, owned slaves. The rest of the people did not. So, way to vilify a race and really create white guilt. People that are actually compassionate, care about black people. I care about black people, but I don't have white guilt. But you've subverted this and you've taken advantage of all of these people who are very compassionate and don't want black people to be uncomfortable to the point where now they hate their own race. You've done that. The boomers have done that. And it is the worst generation in the history of this country. But we're going to continue the clip. Here we go.
Forgive me if I don't believe them when they talk about compassion. There's a genocide going on right now. It's not against the Jews.
How many Christians are there?
In Gaza, it's against
How many
whites.
Christians are there in the world? Like me.
1 point some billion.
Yeah,
2 billion.
How many Jews are there?
15 million.
Okay. So with a straight face, you're going to tell me the world is being overrun by the Jewry, by 15 million people, when there are over 1 billion Christians.
Notice how he's not talking about white people. Nick is bringing up a credible point about white genocide and how, yes, there are a lot of people that are calling for the extermination of white people, counting down the days until white people are a minority in the United States of America, rejoicing when Gen Alpha now is the first generation in terms of white people to be a minority in their own country. This is real. And it would be something if it was on your own, right? If this was happening by itself. But the fact that the corporations over here and the politicians over here are coordinating together, and they're bringing people in via illegal immigration and via legal immigration with the H-1B visa program, and they are like knowingly doing this and knowingly bringing people from the third world to subvert the American population, but majority white people, let's face it, and work for lower wages in both ways to exterminate them out of the job force so they don't have money, so they can't support a family, so they can't find somebody to get married to, find a wife to get married to, find kids, be able to have kids rather, create a family, reproduce. They can't do that. And that's the problem. That's what Nick is credibly bringing up. And so Piers, when confronted about this, is saying, oh no, Christians aren't being replaced. It's like, no, we're talking about white people. That's why it's called white genocide. It's just, I don't get it.
There is a genocide of Christians like poor old Nick Fuentes going on at the hands of these 15 million Jews. Really?
See, this attitude is why you're losing. When you say
who am I losing to?
White people,
who am I losing to?
White people.
Who am I losing?
Mass migration. You're losing to me. We are losing as a civilization of mass migration.
That's true. He is losing to Nick. Again, the boomers are so out of touch. They're just so self-obsessed. The self-obsession is crazy. Do you know what I wake up every day and I think about? And I'm sure he thinks about too. Every day, I wake up and I think about, okay, am I going to be able to provide for my family, right? It's just me and my significant other. But one day, I hope to be blessed to have kids and have as many kids as we'll be able to have. However many kids God will bless us with. And I think about, okay, what's my country going to be like in 5, 10, 15 years? What's the healthcare system going to be like when me and my wife inevitably have our first child? What's the public school situation going to be like when our first child, if we're blessed to have our first child, is able to go to school? What's the public schooling going to look like? Am I going to have to pay all these thousands of dollars for Catholic school, or is the public school system going to be good enough to educate my child, hopefully children, and thus be able to provide them with a very good education? Because we've had a great education system in this country before. And I don't want to exclude my children and my future children from being with other races. I think that we should be able to live in harmony with all races here in this country. I don't think that's a controversial issue. But when everything is deteriorated so much, you typically look to the people at the top and you say, hey, what have you been doing for the past 40, 50 years when you have been in power, when you have had some influence in the society? You've done exactly nothing. You've raped the culture. I mean, that's what they've been doing. They've taken our country and they've used it for themselves, which is why you have these boomers, these 70-year-old boomers who have 5, 6, 7 bedroom homes, 3, 4, 5 bath, like 4,000 square feet, and they haven't sold. And they're kind of putting the housing market on hold here because they refinanced during COVID and they have a 2% interest rate. And even though it's just them, the two of them, they're not going anywhere, yet they're being selfish and they know that it's such a low payment and they just love the big house, and maybe they have a summer house, maybe they have a winter house in Florida, and it's like these people have used our country for their benefit so much that there is nothing left. Social Security is another thing. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but again, this is an indictment not just on Piers Morgan, but all of these boomer leaders in our country that just don't know when to stop. And they get mad, maybe they aren't truly outraged, but I think some of them pretend to be outraged when they see the result of what they've been doing for the past 40 years, 50 years, and we are the result. We're the ones that don't have filters. We're the ones that were primarily raised on the internet. We were the ones that had to deal with all of these things as we were growing up, and we realized that the institutions are bullshit. Right and left-wing people, like the boomers don't understand this too, that the right-wing Zoomers and the left-wing Zoomers, like, we're actually pretty similar. We just want to get to there in different ways, but we both want to kind of tear down the existing systems. We both kind of want to break the matrix here because it is so bad. It is so unaffordable. There are so many problems, and we're going to have to deal with all of them. We primarily just have like slightly different methods. So that's that. But overall, man, this was a pretty good interview. This is probably my favorite interview. It was definitely the most entertaining one that Nick's done thus far. And listen, all things considered, man, I thought it was a fair interview. I think Piers was trying to play gotcha a couple times, but overall, it was a 2-hour interview. Definitely go watch it if you haven't watched it. But overall, man, It feels like it was a pretty healthy interview, and Nick didn't feel like he was ambushed, although I did feel like Piers was kind of playing gotcha a couple times. But here's the both of them talking about the interview after the fact.
I've given people 2 hours of the way you are. You're unashamed about a lot of it.
I don't think I have a problem. I think I'm cheerful, boisterous. Look, unlike you, I'm willing to be a little well, I guess you're willing to be provocative, but I'm willing to be very provocative, and I'm a free thinker. And I don't like to be tone policed. I don't like to be told about, people are going to tone police and play moral cop about you can't make this joke.
And that's what he's been doing. Piers, for this whole interview, he did play moral cop about everything Nick has been saying.
Or you can't make this statement. And I think that's just about being intellectually open. I'm a believer in openness, and I like ideas.
I completely agree. I think you should be perfectly free to express yourself exactly how you see fit. My problem is how you see fit with some of the things that you say. And we've been through a lot of them, and I think people who don't know you very well will have been shocked in parts and surprised in other parts. But in totality, they can see you for what you are. I think we've got a lot nearer to what the real Nick Fuentes is in the last 2 hours than we probably have seen from your other recent interviews. Would you agree?
No, I mean, the clip thing, we've done the clip thing. We've all seen the clip show. Everyone's seen the clips. You think you're the first one to do the ADL rap sheet. So here you said this, and then here you said that. I've been playing that game for 10 years. So this is honestly more of the same, to tell you the truth.
Nick Fuentes, I appreciate you coming on Uncensored. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, listen, say what you want, but it was a great interview. Very entertaining, very thought-provoking. If you're a boomer, your mind might be shocked a little bit, but we're going to show you guys what Steven Crowder thought of this interview, because Steven Crowder did just interview Nick on Thursday. Is he a groiper now? I don't know, but he certainly liked the interview. Here's Steven Crowder reacting to the interview.
Let's see his next question. I guarantee you it's another gotcha.
Knife problem. You got sword problems.
We have problems with
Aladdin.
We have problems with I make no pretense of it. So the idea
and his 40 thieves.
So Steven Crowder loved it. But even he thinks it's a gotcha. Even he thinks this whole thing was a gotcha. Now, Nick was really kind and saying, I think you gave a fair interview. But I mean, here's what I will say to close off this episode here, because you guys should really watch this whole interview if you haven't. We'll link it in the bio. To the boomers, Gen Z, the millennials that are still able to fight, we're coming for you. Not in a violent way, but your whole way of life that you have set up for us in this country, all of these taboos will be torn down and revisited. Everything will be revisited. Why? Because nothing works. You gave us a country. We are inheriting a country, even the Gen Xers to an extent. We are all inheriting a country that doesn't function, and you all have used it for your benefit and almost sucked it dry of all of its benefits. Our public transportation is shit. Our public schools are shit. We're not going to be able to use Social Security. We are now in more wars. Our military is fighting in more places. More of our troops are dying now. The stock market is a bubble. All of the companies are cutting their jobs. We are being pushed out by legal immigration and illegal immigration through the H-1B visa program. College is getting more expensive. The houses are getting more expensive. Families aren't able to start families, specifically because of all of these expenses, etc., etc. I can go all day and talk about all of the things that are really doom and gloom, and I'm not trying to do that here. So to the baby boomers, you think this is crazy, you think this is awful, you think this is scary, maybe to you. But to us, people like Nick Fuentes represent real change. People like Nick Fuentes represent a shock to the system. A lot of this stuff is just jokes. And to people like you that don't understand humor, I understand that might be a little bit shocking and maybe a little bit harmful even, but it's not. This is good. You guys are giving us a shithole country for the most part. And so it's up to us to restore America to its former glory. And we will do so. So there's the end of the episode. What a great interview. Very excited. As somebody that identifies with the Groyper movement, as somebody that is very much pro-America first, I love this interview. Again, please watch the interview. We have it linked in the description below. In addition to that, what did you think of this episode? Do you like me as a political commentator? I get it. I could be a little bombastic sometimes, but the point is I want the country to be better. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Give the episode a like. Give this video right here a like. Subscribe to the channel. Please, I'm begging you. In addition to that, we're doing memberships now. Very exciting stuff. For 99 cents per month, you could become a member to this very YouTube channel. If you're down with the cause, we ask that you would be able to financially support us. For as low as 99 cents per month, you will get priority comment to this channel, meaning anytime you comment on one of my videos, I will have a little logo right by your name. That'll let me know that you're a member of the 99 cent per month club. What that will be able to unlock for you is I will only reply to your comments. I don't reply to comments because nobody's in the 99 cent per month club. So sign up for the 99 cent per month club, comment on one of my videos, and you're guaranteed to get a comment back from me within the next couple of hours or so. I mean, I do have a life, but I'll respond to you and give an honest critique back to what you're saying. And who knows, maybe you probably have a really good point. And I would love to figure out your points and listen to your points. So become a member. The link is below as well. And I would love to see you there. So thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.